Couples that talk about sex have better sex. Well, of course. Of course that's the case. We need to reclaim sex back. Sex is good because the God who created sex is good. And in the right moment, in marriage, man and woman, in the appropriate space, with the appropriate person, with the right person, with your significant other, sex is incredible. It's great. Let me tell you, it's better than a handshake. Sex is good. And so look at this. David Hoover, commenting on sex, look at what he says. The Bible is a book about marriage. To say the Bible is a book about marriage is to say that it is also about sex and the meaning of sex. For marriage is where the pleasure of sex takes place. Marriage is where the pleasure of sex takes place. We have a lot of sex going around with people who aren't married. And here's the thing. You need to, hey YouTube, you need to be in the commitment of marriage for sex to be pleasurable. The other day I had a client tell me, she goes, Amanda, no one's going to buy the cow if they already have the milk. And I said, what do you mean? He said, I was in a relationship and I gave my boyfriend everything he wanted. I had sex with him, I did this and I did that. And sure enough, when I wanted to take it to the next level, when I wanted to commit, he was like, no. So she says, that's what I'm telling you. Tell the girls, no one is going to buy the cow if they already have the milk. So when marriage is in place, the pleasure of sex becomes awesome. Look at this. At the beginning of the Bible, you will see in Genesis, go there with me, Genesis 2. In the beginning of the Bible, marriage is taking place. When God made Eve, Adam and Eve, when they had sex, leave, we become one flesh, that was them getting married. God's definition of marriage is when two people come together in a covenantal relationship, and sex is very much a part of this relationship. Now, look at this. Not only does the Bible start with marriage, in Genesis 2, verses 23 to 25, it says, the man said, this is now, look at the language, bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. This is to cleave. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man. For this reason, man will leave his father and his mother, be united with his wife. They will become one flesh. Boom. Adam and Eve had sex. The man and his wife were both naked, and they felt no shame. They were naked. What do you think they did when they were naked? Frolicking in the garden? No. They were rolling around in the bushes. They were naked. They became one flesh. They entered into covenantal marriage with one another, and there was no shame. They were vulnerable, and it was awesome. And look at how the Bible ends. Revelation 21:2. I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of the heaven from God, prepared as a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband. The Bible starts with marriage, and the Bible ends with marriage. And the first place that Jesus operates a miracle is in a wedding feast. It's in marriage. There is something awesome about marriage. Now, marriage, sex, pleasure is God's idea. But you know what Satan tries to do? He tries to wage war against it. He tries to twist it and to misuse it and to offer it to us in a way that God did not intend. And this is why when we at times think of sex, we think taboo, we think gross, we think pain, we think suffering. This is not how God intended it. So we are going to reclaim sex in our marriages. God talks about sex in the Bible, so we better start. Now look at these statistics. Dr. John Gottman, he says that only 9% of couples who can't comfortably talk about sex with one another say that they're satisfied sexually. Did you catch that? Only 9%. Only 9% who do not talk about sex are actually having a satisfactory sexual relationship. Why? Compassion must precede passion. Compassion, intimacy. If you're not speaking about sex, good sex isn't happening because it takes conversation. It takes practice and it takes vulnerability.